Good morning, everybody, and it's an absolute pleasure to be back with you on this lovely cold Friday morning. I hope it's finding you well. Today's message and cameo coaching set is why is your why still eluding you? And it's become more and more important, this topic for me anyway. And it's an interesting conundrum, and so many times my clients bring to me the query, the conundrum of why they're not reaching their goals, and yet their goals are perfect, their goals are terribly important, and they're all aligned, and they've done all this work on them and thought really hard about them, and yet for some reason they're not getting there. So whether you call it a motivation, whether you call it lack of clarity, I don't know what the rationale is that you give it, and that's really quite important. But whatever it is, unless we tackle the fact that everything we do goes through our own internal filtering process, and understanding what our internal filtering process is, that fires up our engines and propels us forward, we're unlikely to get any of our whys. And it was really, it's taken me some time to think about this, and it came up when I was having a conversation with my youngest daughter, and she was on a walk and she was somewhere she didn't know, and she said, normally I wouldn't go down one of these roads, one of these, I would look at it and go, I wonder what's at the end of it, but wouldn't take that chance, would not walk down there, relied on her fear to keep her safe. And yet this one time she went down there, and it was a conversation I had with her, and she said, oh, it's one of your ones that you need to do for your cameo coaching set. So here it is, and the rationale for why she might have made that choice. So if you know anybody who you think would value from understanding, or has been struggling to take flight and get off the ground, please do feel free to share this video. It's for absolutely everybody, and they're little tips just to hopefully trigger something and a little spark in you just to get motivated and moving forward. So, I explain it like, not understanding these filters is like forcing your hand into a very small glove, or your bottom into a pair of jeans 2 sizes too small, or going out for the evening in something that doesn't fit you, even down to sort of, maybe borrow some walking trousers from somebody, and then you have to put a belt on, or you have to keep holding them up all the time. You're distracted by the fact that something's not fitting right. I hope that makes sense. So what I'm saying to you is, understanding this filtering process means that you address these issues of where you are going and how you're going to get there way before anybody else does. So, like I said, understanding this is like supercharging your engines, and then all you have to do is steer. You don't have to worry about anything else. You just know it, because it will be so in line with everything. So what am I talking about then? So think about a challenge. A challenge may be that you need to address this weekend, or maybe you want to revisit your why. Maybe you want to revisit your direction. Those 10 minutes that I keep saying, sort of have during the day somewhere, even at weekends, in the middle of a hustle and bustle of family, there'll always be something, even if it's on the loo. Take yourself off somewhere and just reevaluate. So this is the self-coaching part of things. So think about a goal or a why that you have achieved in the past. So I'm going to give you an example. For me, giving up smoking. I gave up smoking now. It's got to probably be about 12, 13 years ago, something like that. Now, I tried many, many times. I'd had patches, I'd had gum. In those days, I used to buy herbal cigarettes, not the herbal, but herbal cigarettes from our local chemist. Oh, it was disgusting. Oh, I'd do anything to give up smoking. Anyway, over and over again, I kept saying, well, it's going to be healthy for me. It's good for the children if I give up smoking. I don't want to keep smoking. It's costing me a fortune. So I went through all of these things. And nothing. I always went back to smoking. So what made the difference for me? Well, I looked at the rationale for really, really, truly why I wanted to give up smoking. and it wasn't for health. So I was having completely the wrong goals, completely the wrong whys. It wasn't for health. It wasn't even for money particularly, although that was a big element in those days. No, it was all about vanity. It was the yellow teeth, the yellow fingers, the smell in the house, the smell on my clothes. It was the smell in my hair. What else did I put it down? Oh, and the wrinkles. The wrinkles. I read about the wrinkles and around here and, and around the eyes. And so it was all about vanity. So I had to get that right. Now, it's not an attractive thing to have to own up to, because sometimes we're not born and bred, as far as I'm concerned, in this country, to think about me, to think me, or have that selfish attitude. You're always being brought up, don't be selfish. It's not all about you, aren't you? But actually, this is where I believe the why sits. So it has to actually resonate with you, but resonate really on an unconscious and subconscious level. So this is morning, Kaylee. Lovely to have you. Hello. So this is where I'm saying to you, go deep, go selfish. It is all about you. Make it resonate with you right at that deepest point. So, for instance, again, another example for you. One of my clients was talking to me about her marriage and the fact that it was, she felt suffocating. So we started looking at the balance of why was she in this marriage? What was it? And all her whys were about other people. They were about the children. It was about finance. It was about safety and security. And then so it was quite negative. Now, this is where we start talking about what was positive for her. So what pulled her towards that marriage? And eventually we got there. And it's about, for me, talking to you about your why now is carrot and stick. It shouldn't be all one way. Now, bearing in mind, we're wired to move away from fear, move away from pain. And that's a really good promoter and it's a really good motivator. But on the other hand, we need to have something that draws us towards what we want. So again, go back to what is your goal? What is your why? And it's got to be that balance, in my view, carrot and stick. We can't continuously beat ourselves into submission or beat ourselves to success. We have to feed that success. But on the other hand, we're moving away from something we don't want. So, and I think we do forget to do this when we look at our whys. So maybe you are starting a business and the why is because you want freedom to be with your family. What about you? What would that do for you? You as a person, you as an individual, you as this amazing human being. So have that. So but what does it mean on the other hand? Well, if I had this business, I wouldn't have to go and work for a boss that I don't like. I could set my own goals and things. I wouldn't have to be restricted by what they say I'm worth. So you have this balance. And when you have this balance, the wheels start going at the same revolutions as the engine, and you start getting the power behind things. So take on the challenge. Have a look at it, even if you don't want to go deep and you haven't got time this weekend, and I know what time does for all of us, maybe look at something really minor that you actually want to get done this weekend or in the next week, and have a look. Try and get your carrot and your stick either in balance or certainly in tune with each other, so you don't have a tiny little list. And this is how I do it. I put my why in the middle, so things like thinking about running this business and doing it alongside my current job and all the rest of it. Yes, it's extra work and it's extra effort. But when I wrote it down, I actually had more whys towards something than I did behind something, because I still love my job. So I had to really dig deep about what else, what would actually push me towards something. So again, some of us will be much more about running away from something and moving away from something. And being that type of a person is not bad. What it means is you'll see the obstacles and you'll solve problems beautifully before they occur. Going towards something, yes, okay, you might be great, you might be very imaginative, creative, but then forget about the other part. So get that balance in your life. Relook at things, relook at your targets, relook at your holidays, relook at your next job move. You know, when you've been offered another job, look at your towards and away from. So what is it about that job that really draws you to it? What else would it do for you? What would it stop you from having to do? What would it take you away from? So think about those sorts of things and see if it makes a difference to you. And please do share this, and thank you so much for your time. And I hope you have a wonderful day, Kaylee. I can still see you there, and thank you so much for being there with me. And I will speak to you next week. Bye-bye.